It never takes us up. Now it is. Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to a special spoiler chat with three guys with first initials starting with the letter C. I'm CP, joining me from Screamstream, although he couldn't join us yesterday. This is kind of a consolation prize of sorts. Cody Leach. Cody.
How dare you? I ain't second best.
They replaced me with a female. Other than that, I'm doing great.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you're still alive. That's good. And making your Will I Like It Reviews channel debut, Cecil from the horror show Cecil.
Hello. Thank you for having me, CP.
Oh,
I much appreciate it, considering you're the only one of us that can kind of stream right now.
Is that a fact? I don't.
Well, Cody said you have problems with it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I tried to stream so much whenever I first started, and for whatever reason, my computer takes a shit every time I try to. Like, it's either really laggy or other stuff, so I don't even fucking bother anymore. Until I get a new computer, I'm out of the streaming business.
Yeah,
the only thing I can do is my mobile phone, and that works perfect.
Yeah, I've never seen a stream like literally pause halfway through and then just hiccup. The Cody's is the only one I've ever seen that happen to.
Well, not since 1998, anyway.
Right. Yeah. How fitting that we're talking about this movie for this too. So before we get to the spoiler talk, I guess, guys, do you want to give your ratings on the film, like out of 5 stars? I'll start with you, Cecil.
Okay. I would give it probably 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Down the middle. Any reasons why? Or
yeah, I think here's the thing that I like about. First off, I will say.
Sorry, I can't turn it off. It's my.
I refuse to be silenced.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't think you heard enough of me just yet. I wanted to be
interrupt yourself with yourself.
Yeah. Now I know how it feels. Damn me. But I will say I liked the first one better. But what I really like about these movies is execution. I think they're executed very well, although as an editor, you can tell where they have to kind of flub a little bit. And when the person's full screen, their lips match. But when it changes and they're small screen, then suddenly their lips aren't matching again because they had to use a different sort of take and stuff. So I did notice a few things like that, but it's only because I fucking edit so much to get 2 episodes up every goddamn day. I like to see stuff like that. But so I liked the execution. I did not like the resolution, and I did not like the characters. So, I mean, those are 2 pretty big things. So that's why it dropped it down to half of what it could have been, in my opinion.
Okay. Cody.
My video is actually rendering right now, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. Ooh. So I liked it quite a bit. The first one, well, overall, really, just this franchise makes me eat my fucking words over and over, because the first one, it's in the middle of that whole found footage craze, and on the surface, the movie just looks like a gimmick. It looks like, hey, let's do found footage on Skype. And I'm like, fuck that. You know, I didn't even watch the movie for like 2 years, I think, after it came out. If you walked up to me and said, dude, Unfriended's actually pretty good, I'd laugh at you. I'd be like, no, I'm not watching that bullshit. Because I do not like found footage at all. There's like 3 in the history of film that I even like. When I finally sat down and watched it,
we got to have a conversation. Now I'm curious about that.
Yeah. When I finally sat down and watched the first one, I was like, well, this isn't even really a found footage movie. This is like a modern retooling of like a slasher movie with some supernatural element. Like, I really liked it. I really liked the first one. And so when I saw the trailers for this one, I had the reservations that it feels like Cecil went all the way through the movie with, which is, this isn't supernatural. What the fuck? And I saw the trailer. I'm like, well, that's a weird direction to take this to make it more grounded and real. This is going to suck. This is just going to be one of those Blumhouse misses. And then I watched the movie and I'm like, okay, I'm eating my fucking words again, because this was really cool. I like the execution of it. Like Cecil says, the way that they do the whole internet, viewing a horror movie and a story from computer screens is really neat, how they tie all that together. I thought that the characters, for most of the characters I liked, like the main character and his relationship with his girlfriend, the little communication barriers that they had, some of the other characters I liked it, which I'm sure I'm going to let CP talk about it more, because he kind of originated this idea in my head when I was like, oh, that was good too. There's a lot of payoff with some of the character arcs towards the end. I thought that once things started going, things started actually shit hitting the fan with the dark web and this society of people, and they started messing with these people's lives. I thought that it was really cool the way that they executed that, and I really liked the resolution, how everything kind of, the little twist that they pulled out in the last 2 or 3 minutes. I thought that was really cool. So there was just a couple of negative things, which is the one character who's like the conspiracy theory character. I thought he was annoying, but he had one of the best deaths, so there was some payoff there. It's not a movie that, despite even the first one's the same way, the style of the movie, I don't know if it lends itself to be rewatchable a lot, but for the first experience seeing it in theaters, I liked it. So I had a good time.
Yeah. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. And it's like you alluded to, Cody, something that I gave a hell of a lot of respect to the movie for is the first act entirely seems to be building the relationship between the dude and his girlfriend, who is deaf. Mm-hmm. And that actually, like you wrote up, Cody, that they pay that off. It's not like she's just deaf for just for the sake of being deaf. There's things that they do later on in the film.
They don't pay it off enough, though.
Really?
For the amount of setup, they don't pay it off enough. We get to see that app one more time, really briefly. Again, this is a spoiler thing, right?
Yeah.
So the app, right? The thing he sets up, that they set up, which I agree with both of you guys. I think that first act is actually really strong, setting up. I mean, the girl and young Rufus Sewell. I thought that they were both really good. But the app that we spend so much time on only comes back for like 10 seconds once later in the movie, and I was like, it's such a missed opportunity.
Well, what would you like to see done with the app? Because I felt like the app was just a way of reminding us,
I feel like if you're going to take the time to set something like that up and spend that much time with it, I feel like they could have used it a lot more. Like, use it, make that the thing that's luring her to his place, rather than, like, he should have been keeping her away, but the app should have been used the whole time to lure her there. Kind of against his will. Like, use it more than just the 10 seconds we get later on. Make it a more integral part of the story, because it's literally, they're using his image to bring her closer to him in that case, when he's not wanting it to. I think that would have been a stronger way to go.
There's also go ahead, Cody.
The way that I saw the app was, it was two things. One, it was to reinforce the communication barriers and how much he is putting into trying to fix those barriers because of how much he loves her. So I think that was a good way to kind of strengthen that, about this dude's trying to develop technology to prove to her, hey, I'm in it to win it. I'm here for you. I'm not just here to, fuck you and leave or whatever. But also, I felt like it gave him the motivation to steal the laptop. Because the whole thing that they start the movie with is that his computer kept shitting the bed with this app and everything that he needed to run it. So he saw this badass laptop just sitting there for 3 or 4 days, and that gave him the motivation to steal it and take it home so that he could finally run this app.
Which is which is a big plot problem for me to start. 4 days. This laptop was sitting there for 4 fucking days. No way. No fucking way.
Well, maybe. I mean, there are small things that, as grounded as this movie tries to be, there is going to be some small things that I'm sure we're going to bring up throughout the stream that will suspend your disbelief a little bit. And I'm fair enough on that one. It didn't bother me at all when I watched the movie, but if you said that, I can't argue it. Yeah,
I mean, if it was literally life or death, like it brings it up to be 4 fucking days, like no, that's a stretch. It should have been like, and maybe it was one afternoon, maybe 4 days is just what he said, but make that clear at least, so it's not like a plot hole. You know what I mean?
The thing that I mean, again, in passing, it was a quirk, but it didn't bother me that much. The movie opens with him trying to figure out the password to sign in. And then
I loved that. By the way, a lot of good jokes in that part. Kofefe.
Yeah.
That was really fucking funny.
Right. So, like, I guess you're supposed to believe that he's been using the computer a while, but if that's his first time loading it up, how to get his app on there, and it was just a little
Fuck, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to arm you with weapons.
It's a 2 now. It's a 2.
Didn't it show him transferring all his shit into the laptop while he was kind of opening up Skype and getting everything together? Like it had a bunch of shit going on, and I don't think that they were trying to spend too much time on that, because how much patience would an audience have for having him transfer a bunch of shit over? Like if it was realistic, he'd still be transferring that shit over. But But yeah, I think that he had some stuff going on in the background. He was transferring the app over, and it was just a simple program and stuff like that. But again, if you're going to be nitpick, sure.
It didn't feel like contrivance to me. Like the lesbian couple, the one with the mother, that was a line in passing that like wasn't. Yeah, I didn't. It didn't register to me. But then when she had to choose, it was like, oh, nice little payoff there to something that I didn't give a shit about. Yeah,
I thought that was a great scene.
Exactly.
But
did you give your overall thoughts, CP? I don't know. Did we skip
3.5 stars? Yeah, no, it's fine. Let's roll right into it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 3.5. The end, like, so to kind of combat what you're saying, Cecil, about the 4 days thing, for the ending, you could, like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but all their names had odds next to them, and like they had the whole thing played out, like who was going to do what and who was going to last.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would imagine that laptop was bait. Like they planned the whole thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's what they said.
That's a good point. Okay, that's a good point. So that does negate my argument. So it doesn't matter that it was there. Okay, yep. No, back to 2.5.
Excuse
me. Don't. It doesn't get an extra half a point because of that. No, but one of the things, you know what? I had a thought and it's gone away now. So rather than just pull something out of my ass, I will secede to someone else.
Cody?
I was sharing our video on my YouTube stream, so we should be getting some more watchers here hopefully soon. What was your question?
There was no question. It was just
just overall thoughts again.
Shitting on Cecil's head is all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, just the whole thing, and we'll save the ending for a little bit later. We'll try to follow a little structure, but we'll talk about, if you don't mind me steering the ship a little bit, the difference, the approach that they took, because I know Cecil has a lot of thoughts about this. So they had a very slasher, supernatural heavy focus in the first movie. It was basically a ghost in the computer taking revenge on these high schoolers. And then you get into this one, and it's just basically it's taking kind of a hostile approach. Like it slowly unfolds throughout the movie what is going on. You got these people, he stole this laptop, he finds some weird shit in the laptop that his buddy eventually throughout conversation shows him how to unlock, and then once he unlocks it, the dominoes start falling down. The person who actually supposedly lost the laptop communicates, and he's that ghost person in the Skype, and then all of a sudden there's this secret society of people that are taking out these kids one by one until they get this laptop back and the money. And then, we'll get into the ending, but that's what we're led to believe. And at first, especially in the trailer, I was like, that's such a weird fucking direction to take. I kind of wish they would just do the traditional sequel and not just a sequel by title. But throughout the story, I thought they did a really good job kind of making it like an anthology approach where it feels like a spiritual sequel to a degree, no pun intended, with the execution of it and the way the Skype and everything is. But the new story direction, they took this left turn about being this grounded take. It kind of made it feel like a really fresh sequel to where it doesn't feel like we're kind of going through the motions again. There's not some things carried over. We're not hitting the same beats. It's just the execution and the setup and a totally different story, a totally different approach. So
totally different,
I for one really like
interesting story. So here's the thing. A couple things real quick. What I didn't like was the setup that made it seem supernatural, because I was all about the fact that this guy somehow knew to go to the girlfriend's house and was like skipping frames and fucking up the computer every time. So what I think they should have done is, if they're going to ignore that completely, they should have had one of them like hold up a disruptor or some shit that they had that would allow them to do this stuff, because it seems like we're asking too much of the audience to suspend that much disbelief, where suddenly it's jumping exactly where they want it to, or whatever. Again, I like the execution, but I think there was a lot to be desired as far as justifying a lot of the points of execution. What I will say regarding the execution, one of the things I like the most about it, a good way to describe it, and for any of you guys that are really into film, believe it or not, I'm saying this about the Unfriended series, but any of you that are really into film ought to give these a try, because this is, while it might not be a really prevalent way to tell stories in the future, it is going to be a way stories are told in the future. And this is essentially the film equivalent to a close-up magician. There's sleight of hand all over the place because they have new things pop up on the screen that are going to distract you and pull your eyes from other things in order to have them just come back in time to see something else. And you can flub a lot. You can make a lot of interesting edits. You can do a lot of interesting things by using this sort of sleight of hand, because all you're doing is generally looking at the back of a Macintosh laptop screen. Mm-hmm. And they're able to throw up different things that are literally going to draw the audience's eyes away in order to help enhance the scares. The problem is I don't think they utilize that aspect of it quite enough. And I guess if I want to transition into sort of an opposite thing, since I've talked about how much I like the execution, let me talk about why. One of the reasons I didn't like the film was the characters. Outside of the main two, I thought everyone else was very surface level and very archetypical, and nothing we hadn't seen before, and no real interesting spin on anything we'd seen before. But the biggest problem to me, for me rather, was the fact that we didn't get any fight back, except for one character, a very brief struggle for her life. Very, very brief, but part of the fun of horror movies is seeing someone try and escape or fight back somehow. But there was no fight from anyone. It was all just, oh, okay, so this person's window's been made big. We're about to see them and their demise. No real tension here at all. So, and it wasn't even done. There's only one. Again, I think, Cody, you mentioned this. I thought the conspiracy theorists' way to go was at least interesting.
5 stars.
I loved it.
I thought that was great, but everyone else was nothing special for me at all. Like everything else was very, I said this a couple times in my reviews, very rote and very things we've seen before and nothing that imaginative. And so if you're not going to go imaginative, you got to at least show us some kind of fight that these guys lose, rather than every single one of them being caught unawares. Even though they've seen themselves start to get picked off one at a time, they're all still caught by surprise. Why? Yeah. How? That doesn't, no. Okay, sorry.
Well, I think, I'll let CP talk, because I know he's been kind of ran over the past 5
no,
minutes.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. To kind of piggyback what you were talking about, Cecil, the only, like, I'm fine. Like, I don't need, like the conspiracy guy, like that kill was so perfect with the way they set up, with him calling the cops, and then again, another payoff. They brought up his speaker. Didn't mean to be that big of a deal when I was watching it, but sure enough, he's got a really nice quality speaker that helps the whole shotgun effect. The one where I was kind of like, this doesn't make sense, was the first girl who was on the roof. That's where I was like, wait, how did they get her up there? Did I miss something there?
And why did she like stand right on the edge willingly?
Right.
Yeah. That one's fair. That was kind of the one that I was kind of like, that's kind of odd. I didn't know
that's
if
where
they
should have gone supernatural. Like that's the only way to explain away something like that.
Possibly, but yeah, it's funny because a lot of your gripes that you're bringing up as far as the kills and the execution, it echoes a lot of what Lee, who unfortunately couldn't join us, a lot of his issues, which really killed the film for him, was not having these big memorable kills. And it's funny because usually I would be right there singing the same thing, but for whatever reason with this movie, it almost felt like the kill scenes to me, the process of these people doing whatever they're about to do was what had my attention, not necessarily the actual kill itself. Like even the shotgun kill that we're just talking about, the one that I loved, the pulling up of the computer and them taking the little clips of all of his videos and taking the words and mashing them together and then calling the cops and then downloading the shotgun thing. And then here, like that whole process all of that was kind of like the money shot for me, when the actual him getting shot was just kind of like transitioning to something else. So like the whole movie, every single kill, it was seeing visually how these guys were setting up the kill that was more interesting to me than the kill itself. So it's almost like I forgave not having really memorable kills, because the way that they executed it had my attention more than the actual kill.
Yeah. Cecil, do you prefer movies where the characters know as much as the audience?
That's a good question, CP.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Let me see.
That's why I'm here.
You know what? I might have to put a little bit of thought into that.
Okay.
I will say this. I have to say, I guess my simple answer would be yes. I prefer when they know what we know, because if I'm thinking about it just on the surface level off the top of my head because of your question, I do find myself getting annoyed when I know things that they don't know, and like they walk willy-nilly into traps, because then it gives them a level of stupidity that they don't really have because they don't know what we know. Right. But it makes them seem a little bit dumber because they're walking into something we know as a trap. So I do kind of like it a little bit better when we're as unaware as them, because honestly, it gives those reveals that much more impact. However, you know, I will say that there are obviously stories that are crafted each way. You know, a story can be crafted so it's more impactful for them to know less than the audience. And then there's stories that are crafted where I feel it would be more impactful if they knew the same amount as the audience. So it could be told either way, but my preference is to know the same. The audience knows about the same as the main characters.
Because I would argue that the reason that it's easy for me, I don't know, but I'm not speaking for Cody, but the reason for me to accept things like that is because, you know, they're just dudes at a computer who are hearing this crazy story from one of their friends. Next thing you know, the cops are at their house. Like it's if you put yourself in that situation, there's way too much to process. Granted, we as an audience have a bit more information, but I'll let that slide, and I kind of enjoy the ride that we're on. I mean, shit, Psycho. We saw the killer before the Marion Crane did.
Never seen it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll hate it then.
I think I've only seen one. Wait, what? No, I think I've been to Universal, guys. I know that the mom is dead.
It's a hotel.
Norman's outside welcoming me. No, I don't remember what I was going to say, but I do know that much.
Well, I'll say this too. It's kind of a keep it on the same point with the whole thing about it's kind of the same argument that you do have with found footage about why don't you just put the fucking camera down and leave? Why don't you get away from the computer?
But I would not be able to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I feel like I accepted the barriers that they wrote into the movie for why they would not leave. If you leave, if you sign off, if you go do something else, you're all fucking dead. And they're all like glued to the screen. And then you get like some characters like the lesbian couple, for example, like the blonde girl. Why didn't she leave? How did she not know somebody was behind her? How did they sneak up on her? Well, her attention was drawn so much to suddenly having to choose between her fiance and her mom, and glued to the screen. Is this really going to happen? Is this real? You're probably still confused about whether or not it's real or it's a big joke. And like CP was saying, so much information is going on. Her mom dies. Boom. 5 seconds later, her fiance is pushed into a train. 5 seconds later, her lights go out and there's somebody there. So it's just, I feel like they executed it well enough, at least for me. I could see why that would be a negative. But for me, it never really bothered me that much. Like I never really like right now, if somebody was like, "Hey, if you guys sign off and you die, okay, well, what's going on, guys?" And we sit here for a while. Then, yeah, so
I got to get my Cards Against Humanity.
Lee, which, by the way, I'm not changing my review.
I said it in my review. It felt like Welcome to Unfriended, brought to you by Google and Skype and Cards Against Humanity.
And by the way, I don't listen. We're on a computer here where there's 2 Facebook accounts. I've never had a thing where I'm signed on to one Facebook account and then get a message from the other Facebook account. That I've never seen that happen. Where he was signed in as his thing, but he kept getting messages for the laptop that he stole.
Oh, good point. Well, no, I think they actually had him sign back in as that person. You might be right. I don't know. I
remember thinking, wait a minute. What was that?
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again. I'm not sure. I think that threw me off for a second too, but I thought that he was because he went back and forth between the girl's profile and his a couple of times. So I think I was like, oh, he must be signed into the other one now. But possibly, who knows?
So Cecil, so the first one, you accept the way they died because it was a supernatural element? I mean, the dude putting his hand in a blender. There was, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Honestly, I can. It might be, easy to say this, but if there's a supernatural element, then there are things that can be explained away as a result of that. Why does a person put his hand in a blender? Because something's in his mind making him fucking do it. And like, okay, that is understandable rather than, showing a person, a glitchy fucking screen and a person in the background. Like if they had done this in the second movie, where the guy is there, right? And say we blend the two, right? The guy's there and suddenly he's like staring at the screen, and then you see the screen start glitching and you see the bad person like step in and like glitches up closer and then like grabs the guy's hand and like holds the guy's hand in. So again, if we're going to go non-supernatural, the disruptor also, they wear earbud, like, fucking swimmer, fucking, what are they called?
Noise canceling, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. They wear those, but this disruptor that fucks with the screen also fucks with these guys' brains and gets them to like kind of just sit there and take whatever happens. Like, go that route. Do something like that. Do something more interesting than these people, the lights going out and then one of them is being strung up, by the neck. And it's like, I've seen that so many times in so many movies. It's so uninteresting to me. Oh, but look, we're like only kind of showing it. We've got about a third of his body obscured. Isn't that interesting? And it's like, no, it's not.
Have you seen Exam, Cecil?
I have not, no.
Cody?
No.
Okay, well then that kills that topic.
Good. Why don't we dive into it? CP, go ahead, explain it.
Well, I mean, so it's shot by shot. We got 90 minutes. Go. I mean, can you guys tell me what started this Saw type? People that have to work together and figure shit out. Like, when did that start in horror? Was it Cube? Cube was before Saw?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cube was well before Saw. The first Cube was, I think, 94, 95.
Okay.
But I would assume that any number of horror fans on your stream are going to be like, it wasn't fucking Cube, fat ass. It was like,
it was 1964. Fucking
yeah. You don't remember Flurpity Derp? Flurpity? It's like, no, I don't. Sorry, I don't watch anything before 1973.
That's clear with that Psycho topic. Did we lose
the only reason I even go back to 73 is The Exorcist. So
I think we lost Cody. Either that or he's really solemn.
Who? What? Huh?
Cody, I think we lost him.
No!
Because he's frozen on my stream.
You mean in this face? Is that what you have?
Yeah. He's pondering something.
I've got the Saturday night in the glory hole cabin kind of look right now is what I'm seeing.
Oh. Those are two separate looks? Saturday night and glory hole cabin?
No, so Saturday night at the glory hole.
Oh, excuse me.
Saturday night and the glory hole. Come on, one and the same. That's redundancy department statutory. Wait, what? I don't know what I'm saying.
News with Booze has transferred to this channel?
Yeah, apparently so. I haven't been able to News with Booze in a while, so now it's Reviews with Booze.
Yeah, so I got a very
there you go.
Saw Cube Exam type like, granted well, actually, you know what?
Well, super toned down though, right?
Yeah, like a sub genre, I guess is what I would call it. This group of people trying to figure out what the fuck's going on while they slowly get off. And I guess like what makes it easier for me to tolerate is if you put yourself in that situation where you're like, wait, what's going on? And like you're getting secondhand information while something else crazy is happening. And like, for some reason, it's easier for me to buy with this movie than it was for the first one, because the first one, it was a dead girl haunting them, right? Because
it was easier for you to buy in this one.
Yeah, I listen. I can't explain how my brain works, but
so are you more of like a serial killer slasher movie fan than a supernatural movie fan?
I might be. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then, though, right? Like, so this is more grounded in a quote unquote reality than a ghost movie would be.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm willing to accept the parameters of the movie, though. I mean, if you're telling me that, listen, this is a ghost world in space that people could walk through walls. I'm a Rick and Morty fan. I mean,
oh my God, Rick and Morty is the best goddamn animated show ever.
Yeah. So like, just if you put me in the world properly, I'm fine with it. So I guess part of the thing, like I can imagine hackers getting into your computer, and I mean, shit, they even do it between the two of the characters, where the main character shares his computer with, I think, the British guy or whatever. Somebody's downloading everything off of his desktop. So like that alone is like, all right, listen, anybody can get into your computer. This is a thing. So, why not? Whoever's watching them, or whoever this Sharon, whatever the hell their name is.
It's so funny that I saw that movie that night too, because I watched something else, and someone was referred to as Sharon, and I was like, I know who that motherfucker is. It was actually, what was it? It was it was Preacher season 2, and it was Eugene trying to escape hell, and he gets to the river Styx and gets to the boatmaster, and he's like, the guy's like, I am Sharon. I was like, hey, I know who that is because I just saw Dark Web. Cody Leach is back.
You okay?
My internet took a shit, so I had to switch my phone mobile hotspot on.
Just delete all sound clips of shotguns from your computer.
Yes, exactly. All right, where did we leave off?
We were just kind of shooting the shit about how I was willing to accept what was being shown to us in the movie, especially considering they show us two of the characters, like the dude from England. He shares his hard or his desktop. He lets him in and then shares all of his files with him. So at that point, it's easier for me to accept the fact that, listen, anybody can get into anybody's computer and do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
and that's another. That guy though, like, why on earth would any of them think that he's safe just because he's across the pond? Like, really? This group is big enough to have this entire fucking dark web experience and have killed off almost all of your friends at this point, and you still think they can't go to England?
Well, maybe not in immediate time. Maybe you figure he has enough time to.
It did not take the time of a overseas flight for them to find him. They were there.
Yeah.
I think throughout the movie, I mean, when they said that, it was pretty early on in the hijinks. So I think that they were still pretty in the dark about how connected these fucking people were. It was just, they assumed it was just, I think they were under the impression that it was just the one dude, the owner of the laptop, going around fucking around, and maybe the people that he worked for was starting to get involved with it. By the time shit really started hitting the fan, they never really brought it up again, and then all of a sudden they were all getting killed left and right. So they started off pretty small scale, pushing the chick off the roof, and then threatening to kill the deaf girl, and he was going to follow her the whole time. And then there was that gap in the second act where nobody was really getting killed. They were just kind of fucking around on the computer, and then really when people started getting killed, it was like back to back to back to back. You had the dude with the shotgun, and then all of a sudden the chick gets pushed in front of the train, and then Then all of a sudden that chick gets her head caved in after she chooses who's gonna die, and then all of a sudden the British dude and him are the only ones left, and then he's fucking strung up. So like, it felt like all the deaths were pretty quick in succession, with the exception of the one on the roof, just to prove the point of, yes, you are in danger. I'm not fucking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too quickly in succession, one might say.
Now you're just reaching. Now you're just.
No, I'm just saying. You gotta spread. If you gotta spread the love. If you have 5 characters or 6 characters that are gonna die, and you have 4 of the 5 die within 20 minutes of each other, that's a lopsided experience.
No, I mean, it's not the longest movie. It's only, I think it was an hour and 28 minutes. Yeah, it's not even 90 minutes. So that they spend the first act of it before really anything crazy happens, just setting up the characters and setting up the laptop and some small weird things happening. It really doesn't. I was fine with the way that they paced it out that way. I feel like they built up to a lot of that, and then it was all just payoff of, shit just going insane from the end of the second act into the third act.
That's another thing I give them credit for, because by normal, the last 25, 30 years horror, or at least mainstream horror standards, you got to have a kill somewhere, 15, 20, you got to have a kill somewhere in the beginning. And this movie felt like it took its time setting up the boyfriend and girlfriend. And we didn't really, it was just character development for that first act. And it's so rare to see in horror. I mean, granted, I'm not saying that this is, today's Psycho or The Shining. It's just it was a pleasant surprise in a year full of truth.
Yeah, Nez. Exactly. I'm right there with you. Yeah, pleasant surprise. That was pretty much that kind of was what I walked out with. Like, wow, that it's not going to be in my top 10 of the year, probably.
Right.
At least I hope not by the end of the year. But it's a movie that if somebody was like, "Hey, but I like this," I'd be like, I was shocked at how much I liked it. Go check it out.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's kind of like you said. We both, Cody, had lowered expectations, and I think that plays into it too. Like if you're expecting a shit show, all right, that wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Exactly.
Season.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a shit show, but it wasn't, and it wasn't an interesting show to me. It was very surface level. I like that you keep saying character development. I mean, it's not really all that much development. It's like very surface level shit.
Well, horror. I mean,
yeah, but
other than the big ones we've seen in the last couple of years,
I don't know. Like it still felt so surface level, except for the main 2 characters, which even still to a degree felt surface level. But nonetheless, I just, I guess in horror movies, I can't really complain if the characters aren't the most developed things, because that's not really what people go in for. But it is a big help when the kills are lackluster and the story is a bit lackluster. But the presentation is cool outside of the lack of gory kills. It's a fucking rated R movie. It missed the boat entirely on utilizing that rated R, like in my opinion.
Is it really rated R? I'm trying
to it's fucking rated R, man.
Is there anything that I guess?
Absolutely not. I was 100% certain it was PG-13, but Fuego looked it up during our review. It's fucking rated R.
Yeah, they said They said 2 or 3 fucks, so they got a rated R.
Oh,
but I could understand that, especially when the first one does have some gnarly kills, like with the blender and everything like that. So I could get why that would be a little bit of a blue balls thing about not being able to. A lot of cutaway kills in this movie. Like I said, for me, for whatever reason, the way they executed it didn't bother me, when normally I would be right there with you, like, what the fuck? That was my negative with Happy Death Day. Why wasn't there gory kills? But
no, that wasn't that PG-13.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, that I hear you. But the thing with the character development too, how much character development can you really do when it's just going to be POV shots of people on a screen? Like I was actually I'm with CP. I was pleasantly surprised with how much they got out of characters just exchanging words back and forth on Skype. Like you got the main is the main guy, Matthias, and his girlfriend, I think Tamara or something like that, Tamaya. A lot
Tamara?
there. Yeah, exactly. A lot there, but then you even get into the lesbian couple, and you get what CP was saying a lot of what should have been and could have been throwaway lines with a lot of these characters, talking about the whole thing about, hey, we're engaged, oh my god, and then talking about the reservations of their parents, and then you got the whole thing on the opposite side about her mom is dying and she wants her to be able to be there and everything like that. Like all these things that they set up that are very human conversations to have, that
with
people
them
joining in on Skype. Like, we don't need, if somebody was watching this where it's not an hour of introductions about explaining how we met and everything, we just kind of all right guys, what's up, and we just start talking, and that's kind of how they execute it. And the thing
sorry,
go ahead.
I'm just like, the lesbian couple, sure, but tell me anything about the conspiracy theorist beyond his nuttiness. Tell me anything about the Brit beyond his technical know-how. Like,
the British guy is the one guy that I felt was shortchanged, but it was more so because we got so much screen time with the conspiracy guy that was annoying me, that I felt like I wanted to find out more about this guy. Like, because he's the tech savvy one. He's the one that knows all the back doors, and he knows how to do this and how to do that. And that's kind of what he was reduced to a degree. But the conspiracy guy, I felt like he was, even though he was annoying with the execution of the actor, he was interesting about this guy who's just looking into all these crazy things, and he's got all these theories, and he's against the government. Every time he cuts away to go do Facebook shit, he comes back and the dude's ranting about something about the government. And then he's still at home with his mom, and it's kind of that caricature of the weirdo guy. He sits at home on his computer and fucking plays Minecraft while his mom's upstairs, and he's bitching about Donald Trump. It's just, to me, that could be a caricature, yeah, but for whatever reason, just the dynamic of all of them together, it felt like the ones that were interesting got some really good character development. The other ones were just kind of like the ones that showed up.
The musician chick, the punker musician chick, was just like, very surface level.
She died pretty quick, so I don't know.
Remember the punker music.
Well, yeah,
the roof chick.
I don't remember her being a musician. That's funny. Okay.
Really? That's all she was surrounded by keyboards. Like that was her character development.
The one thing between her and the guy from England, they had really, like, it looked like they were in fucking Tech Central, all the blue lights and shit around them. I was just like, what? Oh, okay. But yeah, I felt like the conspiracy guy, more than anything, was a way to help our lead actor, our main character, believe that just how much of a shit situation he's in. Granted, it does feel a little contrived, a little bit, but it helps move the story along as far as I'm concerned. But but like Cody said, if I'm reaching, it's probably the British guy there. It's just like, what is your purpose here? Cecil?
I disagree. I think no one had a purpose.
Wow.
No, I mean, the main two characters did, but it just didn't. Their purpose wasn't enough.
So replace the conspiracy guy with bro number 3, and he's just another guy playing the game. And the main character explains what's going on. At least the difference is that guy's like, oh yeah, I've heard of this, or like the name of the Chiron or whatever, like the river or whatever the name of the app was. He knew about it. It's not that big a deal. You're right, but at least it's somewhat tiny and believable because he's so into the fucking conspiracy theories and shit. Yeah.
What would have been better to me for the whole movie? I mean, the guy that lost the laptop. Oops. The guy that lost the laptop ends up being an actor, right? So he's in on it. I think. Ooh. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. I think there should have been someone on camera with them, one of their friends, the whole time, that makes it almost all the way to the end, and like does a reveal at the end where he's like acting super scared, and then he just kind of smiles, and he's like one of the Charons, like that. I think that would have made it a little bit more interesting than just because that way that's how they would have tracked everything, because he was in on the sharing of the screen and all that stuff. Like that's how they knew where everyone was in a bit more of a clear way. Like, and you could have let that actor really have some fun, you know, acting like one of them that's scared, all the way transitioning through the turn where it turns out that he's actually the one that's been filtering all their information to the group and stuff, or to the, you know, the bad group and shit like that. Like, I just feel like there was so many things they could have done to make this more interesting than it was. And I know it's not really fair sometimes judging a movie based on what it wasn't rather than what it was, but what it wasn't interesting to me. So what more can I do?
Gotcha. Well, kind of continuing what you were talking about there with what, like, the reveals at the end. So did you not like, or were you not on board with the little twist and everything that they pulled out with the whole thing was kind of a game, and the whole thing, like even the dude who was, you know, pretending to, you know, be the guy that lost the laptop was in on it, and it was all just a setup for a hostile style game where all these people are making bets, and you get to pull away for the final shot, and the guy's got screens everywhere, and he's tied into everybody's laptop and all that. That didn't work for you?
I just put up my review of Keep Watching, which was a movie from last year with Bella Thorne and Chandler Riggs from Walking Dead. And that was about a group of killers that would go into a home and put literally hundreds of cameras everywhere. Like, it was so overboard how many different camera angles these fuckers put in the house when it was necessary to use it. And then the family comes home and they start terrorizing the family while the cameras are rolling the whole time. And it turns out there is a group of people that pay to be on this site to watch this shit happen from all the camera angles live. And so this was just a toned down version of that. And I fucking did not like the execution of that at all. First off, I don't like Bella Thorne. Second of all, Chandler Riggs can eat a dick. And
wow. So say how you really feel.
yeah. I mean, the guy should have been fired 4 seasons ago. But the movie was shit. The execution was shit. It was all completely convenience for convenience sake. And this was a less interesting version of it. You know what I mean? Like, this was revealed at the end. Oh, it's a bunch of people that are in on it. At least to Keep Watching the end, Bella Thorne survives and the bad guys take her and, like, say, okay, now basically you're one of the people that we are going to force to go into the next home and try and kill people. Like, anyone that survives an ordeal and Keep Watching is forced to go in and try and kill the next family. That's revealed at the very end. And that was way more interesting a reveal than just the fact that this is all, you know, broadcast or shown to people. Whatever the reveal was that you just said, which again, you just explained it. It's already left my head again. It's that uninteresting to me.
It was the same movie for you.
Yeah, it was
whatever you just said. The ending was
it's exactly. I literally, he just explained it, and I've seen it, and I still don't remember it.
Yeah, I like that there was betting, like that they had odds for like different, like it was really quick, but they had, like, you know, Joe runs out the door, Joe calls a cop.
Oh,
like,
so they copied Cabin in the Woods. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, Friday the 13th copied Halloween. I don't know. Horror isn't exactly the most original.
I know.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. If you want to dislike something, you're going to dislike it. I'm not saying that as like a dig or anything. It's just the way it is. Horror is when something original comes in the horror genre. That's when everybody really kind of stands up. I don't know what I'm saying, Cody.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems it's either going to work, and I said it in my review too. I was like, if it's either going to work for you or it's not. It's one of those movies, and for whatever reason, the way that they executed it, it really worked for me. I thought that along the ride, I liked the characters. I thought it was really cool how they set up some of the kills, even though some of the actual money shots, if you will, of the kills weren't exactly money shots. The execution of the setup interested me more, so I was on board for it. The thing where the dude was parked in the middle of the street on his bike, like I saw that a mile away, and it was a little weird. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, the van just goes from 0 to 105 feet, or you would have heard the engine. Like, that's when you can get into the logic things, and I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. But just to me, the way that they kind of kept wrapping twists around things that felt like they were going in such cliche, predictable directions kind of it made me enjoy the time at the theater, and maybe it was because of lowered expectations, but I liked how things progressed with the laptop and how things progressed with this society, the Sharons, and how connected they were and how much they were able to do just from a laptop. Like that whole scene with the shotgun, just that whole execution of that was like, that's gold. And then when you get to the end and you get that final reveal of everybody was, the glitchy person was all somebody different. They're all playing this game and they're all placing bets and everything like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool too. Like it worked for me. And like, and again, not saying that I was talking to CP about this before you joined in. I'm usually not somebody that tries to assign reasons for why somebody doesn't like a movie that I like. But there is something like, it's one of those movies where if you're not on board for this and you're not on board for this and this bothers you, the rest of the movie you're going to find things left and right that you're not going to like. So it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those experiences. So hey, you and Lee have plenty to talk about.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Cecil, the chat is just absolutely throwing shit at the wall on this movie. Right down to the title. I mean, the title, Unfriended, like really. That, I mean, if you're not with it from the title, just don't watch the fucking, like the title is the problem.
So we're alone here, CP. We're alone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think either of us is saying that, this is dethroning A Quiet Place for the year, but like,
not even close.
Or even Hereditary. Fuck. It's just a nice change. What was the fucking utterly forgettable horror movie that came out 2 or 3 weeks ago that I just clearly it had an impact on me? I can't remember. There was some sort of
3 weeks ago,
mainstreamy something 3-4 weeks ago.
Allow me to check my playlist.
Okay.
There we go. It'd be really bad if I reviewed it and I'm like, what movie are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised because there's a lot of shit that comes out. Let's see.
There's A Quiet Place, Hereditary, and those are the two big ones that I can think of. And Truth or Dare, those are the
I
three
want to
most
say it was
talked
something
about.
after Hereditary.
It might have been. Hang on. And now I have too many goddamn playlists to go through.
No.
Jesus. All right, hang on. It's got to be towards the bottom, right? Because that was one of the first playlists I created.
Darknet.
So while we're finding this answer, chat, go ahead and give us some more reasons about why we're wrong.
Yeah. Rip into them, guys.
Exactly.
Just
I will say it's kind of a fun movie to discuss though, because it feels like you either have just like the two endings, which we have to get into as well. You either have experience A or you have experience B. It's either, that was a nice little surprise, or ugh, what was that? It's like there's nobody in the middle that I've heard so far. Like, yeah, it was pretty decent. This didn't really work. It's either like, oh, that was pretty good, or ugh.
So somebody was talking about how the dark web isn't like that.
Lee was talking about that in his review. I guess he did some research on the dark web before he did his review, and he's like, the information I found online about the dark web is more interesting than anything they said about it in the movie. So I guess it's possible it's one of those things where they just kind of take the idea of it just to kind of make the plot work, and it's not really 100% what it is. Possibly
a dramatized version of what really is. I mean, again, like if you're going in and you're like, this isn't what the dark web's about, like you're
the first Purge.
Yeah, I was going to say the first Purge and Jurassic World also.
Thank you. The first Purge.
Right.
This is what I agree.
Boo.
Oh, Cecil. Wow.
Pussy grabber.
How dare you? Just because I cosplayed as him. Cole Smith asked the question, have we seen the Voorhees sneak peek? No, we're purposely waiting. We're going to do a reaction to it either tonight or tomorrow. We have to react to a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I filmed my reaction for it about 3 hours ago, so mine will be up sometime shortly, probably in the morning, actually. I'll probably edit it right after we get off of this, and it'll probably render quickly. So it'll either be up at like 1 in the morning or at like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
And mine's already up if you want to watch it. So.
Ooh.
You got A sneak peek at the sneak peek.
Ooh, Fuego
And
is going to call, and either we're going to do it over the phone or over the Skype, or we're going to wait when he comes over tomorrow. We're going to do it then, along with the Godzilla one and fucking the Aquaman. We're even going to do because that's supposed to be horror-ish. So,
well, have you watched any of those, Cecil?
nope.
All right, well then.
Our reactions are genuine on our channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I was gonna segue into the Comic-Con stuff after this, but I guess we can't.
I could talk about some stuff, but not the horror stuff.
Before we transition, let's talk about the two endings.
Yes.
So for the version that I read online, which I don't know if it's legit or not, because I don't even know how you can find out if you have seen ending A or ending B. I don't see like in the theater like Unfriended A, Unfriended B, but
yeah.
The ending that I had involved a bicycle. Did both of you guys have that ending?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, him on the bike. Yeah.
When he gets hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ending A is he leaves the apartment to go after her. She gets lured into the building, gets taken. He gets hit by the fucking truck, and it's revealed that everybody's in charge of it. Ending B apparently is where he does the same thing, but gets drawn to the place where they kissed, and it ends up being a hole dug in the ground with a coffin, and he gets pushed into the coffin and closed in, and by the time she gets to the same place...
Oh, wait a minute. No, I've seen B.
Oh, really?
I've seen B. Yeah, it's like a buried ending. He's under her. She's standing above him, and he's on the cell phone trying to get her attention. But
what? Really? That's way more interesting.
That's crazy. So that's why I liked it so much, Cecil. The ending is way better.
That's way better, dude. Literally in ours, he's on the phone in the middle of a fucking parking lot on his bike.
What am I thinking of then? Because isn't he's on his bike when he's talking to somebody, right?
Well, he's on his bike, but there's a part in the movie where it pops up and it says it shows a video of her at this building, and she's like, "Do you want me to go inside?" And he's like, "No." And then it switches over to the app, and he's like, "Please go inside. I'm waiting for you," or something like that. And she goes in, and it's the same video where the chick was attached to a chain, and she tries to get the food, and she jerks. It's her walking through the building, and a dude in a cloak comes and just takes her, and the footage cuts out. And then it pops up on his phone, and it says, "Should Matthias live?" And there's a counter, and votes are coming in, and it's like overwhelmingly no. And then whenever the voting is over, a fucking truck comes out of nowhere and smashes into him and kills him. And then it pulls back and shows the dude at the computer running shit.
Yeah, fucking scary movie ending.
Oh no! So I had B because he gets to the spot, and there's an empty grave, and there's two piles of dirt. The one thing I remember thinking was, wow, they dug that up and covered it really fast. So he gets knocked on the head or whatever, and he's in there. And then she gets to the spot. Everything's covered over. And then he calls her, or she calls him, and he's in. It reminded me of Buried with Ryan Reynolds, because he was in the casket, but he was trying to get her attention, but she can't hear. And then it pulls out. Huh.
So she lives in yours too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, yours would have been more interesting than just getting hit by a car, because again, they did that at the end of Scary Movie. They did that at the end of Exit to Hell. Like, I've seen too many fucking protagonists get hit by a car at the end of a fucking horror movie. That's so
that was the one. That was the one kill where I was like, that was kind of lame. But then once they pulled back and showed the dude, I forgot about it instantly. I was like, oh, well, that was cool. But it's just the whole the realism of it, of him sitting in a road. Like, okay, if you don't want to be hit by a fucking truck, rule number one is don't park your bike in the middle of the road. But the way the movie camera tricks about there's absolute silence, and then all of a sudden, and it just takes them out. Like, you can't hear trucks coming for the past mile and a half. But yeah. So what I read was true then. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool how you got the secret ending, and we got the more prevalent ending, it seems like, because everybody I've looked at online has our ending.
Yeah. You're the first. That's the first I've heard of that ending, and that's cool that you got to see it, CP, because that would definitely have improved it for me.
Roosevelt Raceway in Westbury, New York, if you're looking for that ending. Because I remember him on the bike. I think that's why I'm having such a hard time processing this.
Yeah.
He
was
probably
on the
cuts
bike.
to- He's
But,
on the bike,
yeah.
and right before the British dude
and
dies,
he's like
"What are you doing?"
FaceTiming
And
with, right?
Yeah, exactly. So from there, after the British dude dies until the end is two separate endings. One, she gets drawn into a building and gets taken for like this human trafficking thing, and then he gets hit by a fucking truck.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
yours,
he doesn't get hit. He gets to the spot, and then it's the open casket, the dug up, which they again they covered up really fast.
That's what I read too. Was the person that was describing the end, and he was like, apparently they can cover up a grave perfectly in 5 fucking minutes.
In theory, I applaud the filmmakers for trying the two different endings route. In practice, having seen the shittier one, I am now annoyed by
it. Fucking clued me with the one where goddamn Scarlett's the killer.
Yeah.
If I had been in CP shoes, I'd be like, fuck it, more people should do this. I get
The hard part about doing that is how do you choose which one is the canon ending? Not that it matters, but like when you have the Blu-ray release, is it you're just every time you watch it, you're gonna have to pick one or the other, or is there gonna be like
the guy dies in both, so it doesn't really matter, right? The chick survives, and the guy dies in both. So,
see, now I'm trying to remember if he was stuck and she wasn't. Yeah.
As far as you're led to believe in ending B, from what I've told, she survives. In our ending, it's pretty definitive that she either is now a prisoner or she's fucking killed.
Oh no! So here's what happened. He can't talk to her, and he's sending her messages on Facebook chat, and everything he's saying like I'm below you, and
it gets deleted.
Yeah, they delete it, and
cool.
then they put like I'm trying to figure out how to sign better. And then he put something else, and then it's the same thing. I'm trying to figure out how to sign better. And then that's how it ends. Oh, man. I just want to go watch the end again. Shit. Yeah. That
was CP. You couldn't have paid more attention.
Yeah. See, I was just like, whatever. I didn't think of it as you know, I was in a lottery with an ending there.
You just dropped Cecil to a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. God damn this thing. The more I discuss it, the lower it gets.
Yeah. That's pretty cool how that worked out.
Shit. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to rack my brain for what else happened there. But yeah, I remember the thinking oh fuck, he's fucked, because every time he typed something, they just change it and it would repeat.
I did like that sound effect of the erasing messages. I was like, that's kind of cool. That's pleasing to my ear.
Pleasing to my ear.
I had to find the fucking good where I could, all right?
As far as positives, that little Skype sound was
I was like,
fine.
All right, sound designers, bravo.
Oh, man.
Well, anything else about the movie before we transition to not?
Would you guys welcome a third?
Sure.
Only if they now do a completely new story again,
like an anthology type.
I don't want to continue any of the stories we've seen so far. Make it make it a monster Unfriended. Do like Unfriended Monster World. I don't know.
Yeah. I would assume that's their idea, since they did it from 1 to 2. Is from 2 to 3 it would be the same thing. It's going to be more like an anthology thing. But yeah, I would welcome a third, and I would not doubt it this time. I would just be like, okay, this is probably going to be good.
Sorry, just real quick. Imagine a scene like the bear monster scene from Annihilation, except the monster wanders into the frame behind someone on the webcam, and you kind of see shit play out like that. Like, I want to see like shit, really fucked up shit, start to pick people off in really crazy ways. None of this real life shit, no more ghost shit. If you're gonna do it different every movie, let's do it different every movie with the same execution style.
Make a Terminator prequel, have it be Skynet that's fucking people up.
Unfriended.
The last scene, you just see everyone on the camera, just a flash fire.
Shit, I was gonna say something, I completely blanked. God, poop.
Come with me if you want to Skype.
Damn it. I don't know what I was going to say. I'm sorry. Wow, I just bricked. Right into a wall. Shit, I forgot what the fuck I was going to say. You were talking about. Did you guys have the searching trailer in front of this?
No.
Have you seen the Searching trailer season?
No, I need to in fact add that to my list because I saw someone else talking about that today too.
Cody.
I've never even heard of the movie.
It's with Harold from Harold and Kumar.
Oh.
Or Kumar from Harold and Kumar, the Asian one.
And that would be Harold.
Harold.
I'm actually going through the second season of Exorcist right now, where he's the lead. So
it's
no, I haven't seen it.
It's quite samey, where everything appears to be happening on a desktop, and the dude's looking for his daughter, who apparently is.
Oh yes, we did do a reaction to that. Yeah, that was good.
That's coming out soon. Like, how can that? I remember what I wanted to ask you. How can that do better, in your opinion? Cecil.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Here's the
gory kills.
Here's the thing. I think a way to make it more interesting is you can't chain the movie to one laptop screen. You can go from different screens to different screen. You can go to a person's phone doing a Skype. You can go to another person's computer. As long as it's all a screen and you're not switching to like real life, if you're trying to keep that, don't chain me to one laptop, because that is really going to limit your ability. So this one's searching. He's going to go and try and find her. He finds out, and then he's going to take off out of frame. And then we're going to have to see him do it through, it goes more found footage-y. I know Cody's not going to like this, but it's going to have to go to, security camera footage and other stuff like that. But if you think about it, nowadays with the way clouds and Wi-Fi connectivity goes, it would make sense that whoever is tracking John Cho, it would be able to do so by just flowing that, riding that Wi-Fi signal to every new area of town he's going, searching for whoever it is he's searching. I think honestly, if they're smart, it's going to be a blending of that security camera style found footage, be it Paranormal Activity or what have you, and the Unfriended stories. I think you could make for an interesting movie because you're not chained to something like the one laptop.
Right. My apologies, Cody. I remembered what I wanted to say, and I wanted to ask Cecil this, but so with everything you complained about with 2, you're in charge of making Unfriended 3. But you can't do your monster angle. How do you make it entertaining?
Well, what the fuck? Who says I can't do the monster angle?
I did. I'm the head of I'm Jason Blum.
You do anything you want, but it can't be monsters.
It's got to be a computer. No monsters. No Skynet.
Know that. Whatever you're thinking of.
Honestly,
no Halloween.
What I would do is I would blend. I would try and blend what they're doing with Unfriended. I would go. Okay, follow me on this. I would go Unfriended by way of Scream, with the antagonist of Ghost in the Machine. So it's a character that can jump from sort of laptop to laptop or digital platform to digital platform and literally pop up as an extra cam and then kind of smile and jump into the next camera over and kill that person, doing whatever, and like kind of do it in like sort of the Shocker vein where he's having a lot of fun doing it because he knows he shouldn't be able to. Yeah. Okay. I don't mean that, CP. He would submarine her, if anything. But no, the movie Shocker, starring Mitch Pileggi.
Yes. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
no,
distract.
so I would go that route. Like, I honestly, if I had to put more fine a point on it, give me the dark, crazy version of Ghost in the Machine, or the dark, crazy version of the electric gremlin in Gremlins 2.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? That can move through all that shit
Sure.
and really legitimately make itself a physical presence that can then become a digital, thing. I would like it if they went that route, but that's sort of the 90s hackers sort of effect mentality. But we can update it, you know. There's ways to update it and make it look cooler. You know what I mean?
Sure. Cody, make the Purge anarchy of the Unfriended series.
Well, the one thing that I would go for that it would seem like it would please everybody if I was in charge of doing the third one is start with how can I make awesome kills on screen and work backwards from there, because it seems like that's what the main thing is the kills weren't satisfying enough, and then your problems kind of stem from there. You know, you can add good character development and everything later on. So I think what would kind of be cool to see is Final Destination style kills, like in a room, like you see the shit behind you and all of a sudden some stuff starts fucking happening and, you know, you get your head taken off by a blender or something like that. So maybe some kind of maybe they're fucking around on the internet and they find some voodoo shit, like they go on to, you know, what is it on Cult of Chucky, Voodoo for Dummies?
That was the fucking worst. Fuck you.
Horrible. I know. I'm with you, man. So yeah, they find voodooForDummies.com and they find something and they end up putting a curse on one of them or all of them, and then they all start dying Final Destination style somehow. Who knows?
I have a.
But I would try to
go ahead. Sorry, Cody.
But I would try to make for this one to kind of. I felt like they succeeded with the direction they went, but a lot of people do not. Seems like, so I would try to focus on having some gnarly badass kills and then work my way back from there.
So my other idea that came to me while Cody was talking, not that I wasn't listening, but let's do digital witches. Let's do like, okay, so it's you do the digital version of the craft almost, where you know, there's a group of girls that you know, they all sign on, right? And it's this group chat or this hangout that's being led by the, you know, the king bitch or queen bitch, I should say, queen bitch of them all. That's like, they're all almost like pledges. They think they're pledging for like a sorority, but it's actually, you know, a witch coven that has gone digital and like gets all these girls on and then like can do spells through the webcam, because they need face-to-face interaction, but they don't need to be there. And then maybe, you know, they whittle down a group of like 10 girls into like the final 3, and then they do one final spell, and you see the girls' eyes change all to black, and now they have 3 new members of the coven, and they all go out, and each new one runs a new group where they recruit more witches digitally, so they grow their coven across the globe, kind of thing.
Yeah, I like
There
that.
we go. Should have had Cecil on Pitch Wars.
Yeah, you should have. Fucking hey, man.
I fucking love pitching stories, man. I love pitching stories.
Yeah, you haven't sent me that script yet, by the way.
Bullshit. I sent you the link a long time ago.
If you did, I didn't.
I'll send it again, right?
Yeah,
now,
please. Somebody says it reminds me of Friend Request.
Oh, that was
God, no.
That's
No.
the shitty version of Unfriended.
The zombie girl, right? Where
she kills herself because the chick, like, she friends the girl and then she sends her messages and likes all day long. She unfriends her. The chick kills herself and becomes like the fucking supernatural
or whatever.
paranormal activity.
I have seen
and,
that. Yeah.
Fuck that. No, don't even mention that with Unfriended. I'm
See,
sorry.
my stupid idea was just have it be chaos and for once pull out of the desktop thing and just have random murders across the country, and then somebody that's close to the area just fucking hack into their computer and frame them somehow, put the videos onto their computer and call the police. It's a haphazard thought, but you guys really knocked it out of the park, so I'm just gonna stop talking now.
It makes me want to write that witch idea, quite honestly. I don't want to write an outline for that. I think that's kind of interesting.
Unfriended king bitch.
We'll get the misspeak in there for sure.
So have we said everything we can about Unfriended Dark Web?
I think so. And CP, the script is now in your Facebook box.
I see that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con's currently 3/4 of the way done. There's been a bunch of trailers, a bunch of news. So let's start with the big one, Cecil. Halloween had a big trailer with a big giant. Apparently, they showed a scene. Start breaking shit in excitement.
There, call back to last night.
So
I can't hear you guys. The joke
Yeah.
prevents it.
no, listen, sell out for a joke. I'm behind it. So apparently they showed a scene and another trailer. Am I Cody? Help me. Is that?
I did not look into it at all because
good for you.
And I asked a question of the day yesterday that kind of leads into this. That first trailer sold me. I was already sold before that, but that first trailer, that's all I need. So I really don't think I'm going to watch anything else, even if there's like this official trailer and everybody's freaking out about it. And I don't think I need to see anything else because I know there's much more potential for me seeing something I don't want to see than anything else. And they've already got my money. So there's really no reason to sell me anymore. So all I've heard is that it's an extended trailer, which leads me to believe what you were saying. It's the trailer we already got with a scene.
Yeah, apparently they showed a kill.
Yeah, and that's probably what I figured they would show, and I don't want to see any kills. I want every single fucking drop of blood that dude pulls out of his victims in that movie to come while I'm watching the movie.
Cecil?
I would agree with Cody, but I'm a whore for views.
So is Cody. What are you talking about?
I find creative ways to feed my
no, I look, if it's literally just adding a kill, I might have a little fun and just react to like that new 3 seconds, and see how that goes. But we'll probably look at it, yes, because we are, the horror show channel. We are a horror variety show, and we have to cover that stuff. I have people asking us, why haven't you done the last 2 Meg teasers? We've already done 3 Meg trailer reactions, and we're interviewing the author tomorrow, which I need to fucking write questions for. Fuck. But yeah, so we're interviewing the author for the 2nd time on the channel. The last time I interviewed him, it was 2 years ago when the movie had just been greenlit and Eli Roth was going to do it and all that shit. So now we're going to interview him. Less than 2 weeks away from actually seeing it, because we're seeing it on Monday the 6th at an early screening.
What the fuck is with you in Arizona getting all these early screenings? I'm fucking.
I want to hear shit about that, man. Neither one of you guys both get them. Fucking Savannah gets nothing.
Fair enough.
If I want to see a screening, I got to drive 4 hours west, which I will never fucking do.
Well, I'm close to the Eastern Mecca as far as entertainment's concerned.
I'm actually pretty excited because you guys have heard of Alamo Drafthouse, I'm assuming?
Sure.
Yes.
We actually just got our 2nd one in Tempe. We had one that's kind of far away, but one is just put in Tempe, about 5 minutes away from ASU. And the guy that runs the programming came up to us at Mad Monster last weekend and wants us to start doing events there. So I'm fucking
That's awesome. Congrats.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, so I don't know, man. I forgot what we were talking about.
Let me redirect
Halloween.
Because
Oh, yeah.
So do you think that maybe with the millennials, I mean, they're let's say today's 18-year-old, their only taste of Halloween is Rob Zombie and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Or
if that.
Yeah.
I fucking hope not, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, with the mentality that they haven't watched anything from the past. Do you think that maybe they need to somehow whet their palates and get, the modern day teenager interested somehow in some sort of something that they've probably only heard about or possibly only heard about?
I don't know. I don't think Halloween is a franchise that's even possible with. I mean, I know what you're getting at. Yes, there is certain movies that there is going to be a certain demographic of people that you are going to have to sell them. I feel like Halloween is one of those exceptions to the rule, though, where it's like, even if you're not a horror fan, even if you hate horror movies, you had to fucking seen Halloween or at least know enough about it to at least get the gist of it. I mean, I've never seen The Wizard of Oz, but I'm pretty sure I've seen the whole fucking movie with what I know about it. So it's I don't know. I know what you're saying. Do they need to keep showing things to sell everybody? But it just feels like one of those properties, and we're going to get into another box office debate. It's one of those properties that I feel like sells itself. New Halloween. Okay.
To us, yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, everyone,
We'll
y'all are
find out.
overestimating the shit out of this. There's
We'll
no
find
fucking
out.
way it's going to do as well as you guys think it's going to do.
We'll find out.
I couldn't
We'll
get you
find out.
guys to do a fucking bet video.
Dude, it was what? Well, it hasn't come out yet. I'm game.
We got to do this. Lee was like, yeah, we did something like this in one of our streams. I was like, oh, okay, shut down.
No. Listen, we don't need the Lord and Savior to do this.
But he is Halloween God.
Shit, I forgot what I was going to say again. Oh,
We'll be doing the video and placing our bets, and he'll fucking unfriend us. He'll go ping, and he'll just pop up as the red thing. it'll be him watching us.
Well, yeah, I actually just reached out to the Halloween celebration to see if we could maybe get a table out there because Jason Smith is already going, so we might do another team up with him and actually go out and get a table and cover that whole event. So Lee will be eating his heart out at that point.
Man, Arizona, the horror hotbed. What's going on?
Oh no, it's in California. It's in Pasadena,
West
California.
Coast horror hotbed. California.
Yeah, that's true.
Never mind, California. So the Godzilla. Neither of you have seen the Godzilla trailer.
I've seen it.
Cody, thoughts?
I could give a fuck less.
All right.
I'll give context to this. I've never really been a fan of the big monster movie genre. I didn't grow up with them. I could not today, even if somebody patron requested, I could not stand to watch the old Godzilla movies, the old stop motion ones, whatever. So I don't. That whole era of that is out of my reach. Nothing bad or good to say about the Roland Emmerich one. It existed. It was in my generation, but it was never a movie that I particularly loved or hated. Mm-hmm. You get to the new Godzilla, and I was extremely hyped about it. I was like, dude, that first trailer where that the eerie music and the dudes are doing a little halo flight into it, and you see the tail. That sold me so much on that movie. I paid for my first ever IMAX viewing, which ended the IMAX that I have near me. My girlfriend calls it the Limax because she works for the opposing company across the street. I had never been inside of it. I paid for IMAX 3D tickets for me and my dad to go see it, $16 a piece. Go into Godzilla, and for 2 hours and 15 minutes, I got like 5 minutes of Godzilla. I fucking hated that movie. As soon as Bryan Cranston left the movie, I thought it sucked from then on. Mm-hmm. So for that
Except
reason
for
alone,
when he fire breathed down the fucking throat of one of the
yes.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing with the friend request debate we were having. By then, I was finding things to hate because I was mad.
Fair enough.
Yes, a YouTube clip of that scene alone, badass. Within a 2.5 hour movie where I was lost patience and pissed, not really. So right out of the gate, I could care less about a Godzilla sequel. Then you got the King Kong movie that came out last year, which I thought was mediocre at best. So the whole universe that they're setting up at this point has disappointed me and has not had a hit for me yet. Then you get to this trailer, and the trailer is literally explosions and what looks to be the same type of thing where you see explosions and oh, look, there's Mothra for a second. Explosions. Oh, it's King Ghidorah. Explosions. Oh, it's Godzilla. Explosions. Trailer ends. And you get to see 11 for 30 seconds.
And then he burps that fucking electricity into this guy. That was
I mean, the trailer did absolutely nothing. You're safe, Cecil.
Yeah. Come on back.
I thought you were saying that like Godzilla's licking massive balls.
Yeah,
no.
He drops into puberty.
Yeah. In conclusion, the trailer did absolutely nothing to convince me that this is not going to repeat the mistakes of the first movie, other than the fact that the director of the first movie that I have not liked a single movie that he has done is not doing this one. So I could give a fuck less.
Cecil.
I am all about it. Now, quickly, Cody, did Cloverfield fall into this shitty category for you too?
The first Cloverfield is pretty decent. It's one of the found footage movies that I can tolerate. I don't love it.
Giant monster movie.
Yes, but there's good things about it. It's in a different style, and J.J. Abrams, for the most part, his movies work for me, even though I know he didn't direct it. Matt Reeves is another guy. He directed it, and all his movies work for me. So I like Cloverfield. I've only seen it once.
Colossal?
Ooh.
I loved Colossal.
Ooh.
But Colossal, to me, it was more the dark comedy. It was more seeing Jason Sudeikis play a really dark role. It was all that kind of stuff that really made me love that movie, not the kaiju.
I'm just saying, I found 2 kaiju movies that you liked.
2 for 2.
In conclusion, I'm full of shit.
That negates your whole argument. You had like 10 movies you didn't like.
Pacific Rim, bro.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh shit. Pacific Rim 2 was balls too, but it was fun to watch.
I didn't even bother with the second one. I like the first one though.
Oh, you might like the second one then, man. I mean, it's not deep, but neither was the first one. And this one actually looked really cool. It was a lot of good action, so you might actually enjoy it. But I'll say this, without having seen the trailer, I'm super excited. I love Millie Bobby Brown. Got to see her in person when she was at Phoenix Comic Con last year.
Oh, fucking! You name drop worse than Lee. Fuck.
What can I say?
Bailey Madison, the future of horror.
Stay tuned, guys. We have Tales from the Crypt revisited episode with Fuego and Jason Smith, where Tom Savini stopped by. I'm just a side note. I don't know if you guys follow our Instagram. I actually posted a picture that I took with Lance Hendrickson. Just saying.
At Lance Hendrickson, he liked it.
You guys might recognize the name John Carpenter. He totally liked my tweet yesterday.
I'm actually friends with Art the Clown on Facebook. I don't know if that means anything, but but anyway, I'm super excited about Godzilla because I think they will absolutely have learned from their mistake. That they caught such shit for the first Godzilla movie that they course corrected for the King Kong movie. There was no lack of Kong in the Kong Skull Island movie.
They were too far to the right, and then they swung way the fuck to the left. It was too far to the left.
I know. I think they're going to find that happy medium now, which is fine because they're going to have to, considering they're like overloading it. We're going to get King Ghidorah, we're going to get Mothra, and I think we're going to get one other one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about it. I am like Cody. If a patron, like I actually just caved and bought the original Universal Monsters set because I've never watched them. I've never seen. I've never seen watched one. Either, so I've seen one Hitchcock movie in my whole life. So I 2 for you. Okay. So Cody, you and I have a lot to not talk about. But anyway, getting back to it, I cannot stand those old suit Godzilla movies. Like I liked Godzilla in 1985 because that was my first entree into it, when you had Perry Mason talking about how bad humans were, and I think cried when Godzilla fell into the pit at the end. And so sorry, you're right. Spoilers, 30-year spoilers. But I could not get into those old suited stuff. So
the sound design, the noise he makes. Come on, man! You were talking about sounds before.
But yeah, well, no, I know, but I like the sound in the new movie that they did. I thought when they used that to end the first trailer, and you just heard that, like they actually carried out that shit at the end, and I actually really liked that. I can do a fax machine sound too if you'd like me to. But anyway. I am on board for this. Not to draw it out too much, but I love monster movies of all shapes and sizes. So I will definitely be there with bells on.
I'm trying to think what else dropped at Comic-Con that
you said you had 3.
What were your
thoughts on Godzilla?
Yeah. Guarded. I'm guarded, like for everything that Cody was. Cecil, lose the cans.
Earmuffs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you.
I felt like with what we've seen in the trailer, there's a lot to take in. Where like, do you really need that many people for Godzilla to go against people? Do you really need that many villains? Like, dude, set up one. Like, what?
It's the DC thing. They're trying to rush to get to the big movie.
And
They're
it's fucking Warner. We're like, dude, chill out, man. Let it simmer.
Yeah, like even you guys were talking about it last night, and I honestly don't remember. Is King Kong supposed to show up in this fucking thing, or is Godzilla King Kong supposed to be the next one?
I forgot who brought it up. Was it Brian or Lee?
Lee brought it up, and you guys were unsure, and you thought that maybe King Kong was supposed to be in this one, and I have no fucking idea. I know they're supposed to be King Kong and Godzilla, which I thought was this one, but this one I guess is Godzilla versus everybody. Godzilla villain,
everybody,
just to get them out of the way, and then King Kong is probably going to show up at the end, and then the next one's going to be Godzilla versus King Kong.
Post-credit scene, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be a lot of shit to have, a lot of visual shit to have to get through, and I don't know if my problem with the first movie was there wasn't enough Godzilla action. I feel like this one's going to be.
I think I've had just enough alcohol tonight.
Godzilla, Mothra,
good. And then Jason jumps out of the water and
son of a bitch!
The Godzilla from '97 comes back.
Zilla's back!
It's all the Godzillas ever in the same movie.
Look, I mentioned that in my creature movie tag. Godzilla '97 had one of the saddest creature moments that I could remember. When they fucking kill him, it made me so sad when he was tied up on the fucking bridge and he couldn't move or defend himself, and they just fucking shot him with missiles over and over again. And then Matthew Broderick walks up and his heartbeat slowly fucking goes and his eyes close. And I'm like, motherfucker, just had to make me think about all the cats that I've had to put down my whole life, you sons of bitches.
Did your cats tear up a city, though?
Well, the city called my love.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, Godzilla '97 is not really something to hang anything on as far as emotion. Shit.
Believe it or not, though, the effects actually still, outside of the little babies, the effects of Godzilla, when I was looking at it for that episode and pulling clips, I was like, it still looks pretty good.
Well, didn't they disguise it by doing a bunch of dark shit? Like,
yeah, lots of rain and all that shit. But filmmakers are still doing that.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim, prime example. It rained every time any of the monsters came. It was raining.
That could be thematic, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was thematic.
To set the tone.
All the Godzilla fanatics.
I guess I'm trying to. My internet is not. I was trying to look up what
we had for trailers. We had Glass. We had Aquaman, Shazam, Grindelwald, and
all right. You named at least two that I could ask you about.
I watched Grindelwald and I watched Shazam. I can talk about those. Cool. Anything horror I didn't watch. Well, we're talking horror, and I didn't watch them.
Well, Glass is sort of horror.
No, we're definitely reacting to that because I love Unbreakable is my second favorite Shyamalan movie, and Split is my third favorite. So
what's your first?
Sixth Sense.
Of course, it's Sixth Sense. Come on, dude. That is still to this day. It is the first movie I can ever remember watching in the theater and literally doing this. Like, I've never done like the old Southern woman. Oh, I do declare. Like, it really got me, man. Like, that shit I did not see coming. Call me dumb, whatever, but I was, what?
You're
15?
dumb.
Fuck off.
You said call you dumb.
All right, well, whatever. Yeah, I was like 15 when it came out, and I was all about it, dude. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great filmmaking. I thought it was wonderful misdirection. Unbreakable, I actually wasn't a huge fan of the first time I saw it. But then as I realized when I watched it a few years later, and having collected comics since 1992 when Superman died, I was like, oh, now I get what he was doing. And it was fucking brilliant. And then when I saw that that Split was like a backdoor fucking rejuvenation of the Unbreakable universe in the post-credits scene, I was like, oh Lord, I'm back. Like, I was so excited. So I can't tell you how much I'm pumped to watch this trailer. I'm hoping it's not going to disappoint me, but Shyamalan has been disappointing for a while until I actually didn't like The Visitor or The Visit because I thought it was too obvious.
Thank you.
Outside of the under the house bit, I thought that was great. When they were crawling under the house and the old lady was moving way like she shouldn't.
I was in a weird screening for that movie where everybody was laughing at parts that I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Is this funny?
I wish the fucking rapping kid would have been killed in the first frame, but that's just.
I hated him.
But
when
anyway,
that shit diaper in the face, I was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, eat it."
Yeah. Fucking lick that shit up all over. I loved Split though. I thought it was a return to form. I actually was a fan of The Village, and I'm actually a fan of parts of Lady in the Water. Parts.
Yeah, go ahead. Go back to shitting on Unfriended again, and then tell me how much in the water.
Fair enough. I didn't mention the happening.
There is aspects. Oh, we're about to. There is aspects of The Village that I like, but that movie bores the fuck out of me every time I watch it, and it's not a movie that's near on par with the first three. I've never seen Lady in the Water. Don't have any plans to. Never saw Last Airbender. Don't have any plans to. I will argue that The Happening is one of the best unintentional comedies ever made. If you watch that movie with the intention, if you watch that movie, listen to me. If you watch that movie with the intention of laughing your ass off with somebody that has not seen it, it is fucking hilarious.
I bet it is.
Especially when all the people start diving off the buildings.
When people die, the reactions, the way that he has them act, every fucking word that comes out of Mark Wahlberg's mouth, whenever they get to the last act and the old woman standing at the stairs and she's like, trying to kill me in my sleep. And he's like, no.
What?
It's
No.
fucking hilarious.
Somebody's got to do something about all the bees.
Yeah. It's the first time that you see it, it's a horrible movie because you're like, please, Shyamalan, come back. But then when you watch it with the intention that this movie sucks, but it's so fucking bad that it's good, it's hilarious. It's like the fucking Wicker Man remake. So I can enjoy the shit out of The Happening just because I watch it with those eyes. Like it makes it even funnier when you watch some of the behind the scenes shit because there is literally footage of Mark Wahlberg getting in M. Shyamalan's ass about how stupid the sequence they're about to film is.
Oh no!
Like the whole scene,
the climax of the movie. I got to talk to you through an underground pipe.
The whole scene when they find that abandoned house and the two kids get shot. You know what I'm talking about? Where they're knocking on the door and the kids trying to get in or whatever. Like there's a footage online of he's asking Shyamalan. He's like, "Do you really think that a conscious human being is going to stop running for this abandoned building to try to find anything in there? You realize how fucking stupid that is?" And M. Shyamalan's like, 2 words: canned goods. And it's funny when you know that even the actors that were in it were like, "Fuck, this is not what I signed up for," and I enjoy the hell out of it.
Just film the fucking scene, asshole.
Until we got Split, he was on a fucking train to nowhere. But without spoiling the trailer for you, Cecil, you will not be disappointed. And I will say, he's not going to be back on top like he was when The Sixth Sense came out, as the new Spielberg or whatever they were calling him. But if if Glass delivers the way that the trailer does, the fucking dude is back. Everything that he's done previous to Split will be forgiven.
Cody, what's your favorite Shyamalan movie?
Unbreakable.
Okay.
So
Unbreakable. A close second for me is Signs, and a close third is Sixth Sense.
I loved Signs, except for the huge logic flaw of them trying to take over a planet covered in 70% their weakness.
Well, possibly, yes. But I've always taken the argument that maybe they are at a planet that does not have water, so they're not aware that it's a weakness until they show up.
Okay. All right. I did like the execution of that movie, except for the swing away Meryl. That was fucking dumb, but whatever.
I love that movie. That's the first movie that I saw 3 times in theaters.
I'll tell you what.
I watched it with my parents. I watched it with my best friend at the time. I was like, 2002, I was 12. and then I took my grandma to go see it.
I watched the Nostalgia Critic review of it, and it ruined it for me forever because there's so much wrong with that movie. That little boy talks so much more intelligent than any little boy that age should. He's like literally telling his sisters, like, this is the event that you're going to be telling your kids about, Bo. Do it for your kids. It's like, what? You're fucking 8, bro. What are you talking about?
That's where his dialogue writing starts to transition into shitty, but it was still everything around the dialogue was still so good when he did Signs that we didn't quite see it as a red flag yet.
Everyone sounds like him. That's the problem.
Right. Cody,
Go ahead.
did you see Aquaman?
Yes.
Trailer? Thoughts?
It's everything I expected it to be for the most part.
I don't know.
That's the one movie, despite all of the chaos, that's the one movie that I had faith in just because James Wan is in front of it. Because the dude has not done a bad movie in my mind. But when I saw the trailer, it feels like it's taking some cues from Thor, and it's taking some cues from Black Panther with this kingdom that you have to come back and reclaim, and this hidden fortress of huge technology and shit. But Jason Momoa looks like he's going to kick ass. The humor that they placed in the trailer felt like it was organic. It didn't feel like it was inserted like Justice League did. And the special effects that we did get to see of them underwater and everything like that looked pretty cool. So it didn't blow my mind. Like, I'm not like, holy fuck, Aquaman. But my expectations were like, it's probably going to be good. And when I saw the trailer, my expectations are, it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, I'm concerned for the exact thing you were talking about before with Godzilla. With as dark as DC has been, it feels like this is so far. I mean, it's got color. That's the one thing to say about the trailer.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so these aren't spoilery details we're talking about now.
Gotcha.
Go on, CP.
Yeah, no, it's colorful. It looks. I mean, shit. There was times where I felt shades of Avatar with some of the underwater stuff.
Ooh.
But I'm concerned, like I said before, Cecil, like for the exact reason that Cody was complaining about. Well, the overcompensation with Godzilla. I feel like this is DC's way of saying, look, we can do bright and happy. Look, here it is.
Wait, they're making Aquaman bright and happy? That's surprising as shit to me.
Well, I will say this. It feels like they've basically they're
going Ant-Man with it?
No, it feels like they shot Justice League in the face to have a very not smooth transition from where they were to where they want to be. So all of the changes they tried to shove into Justice League, the change of tone, the change of color palette, everything like that just felt fucking weird and all over the place. It feels like that was the weird chapter to now the new DC, and the Aquaman is going to be the first showcase of where they're going to take this, because Shazam had kind of the same lighthearted feel.
So Justice League was the weird, messed up archway where we walked through from the dark DC universe, and we walked through this weird, fucked up Justice League archway that didn't know what it wanted to be. And then we walk into now bright DC. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, it feels like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm actually a little bit more excited about it, because here's the thing. Jason Momoa is one of the only things that I really, really liked in Justice League.
I'm with you on that.
I thought that he was super fun. I actually kind of like Surfer Aquaman. I like Island Aquaman more than super fucking, like, Aquaman has one of the most white bread origins of anyone in the fucking DC universe. So I like that they're making him more Island Aquaman, and he belongs of the sea like most Hawaiians do. Like, I actually think that's much smarter.
Hashtag not my Aquaman.
Sorry. Well, hashtag bigoted Aquaman. If they lean into that, that's fun. He was fun. It looked like Aquaman was the only one having fucking fun in the Justice League movie. So let's lean into that. I'm actually okay with that.
Well, the Flash seemed to be having a little.
Yeah, the
Flash was awkward.
The Flash. Yeah, he was super
fun.
awkward. He looked like he had a little pellet of shit in his pants the whole movie.
The tone you're talking about with Aquaman kind of being the party guy or whatever and having fun while being bad. That's the tone that they feel like. It feels like they're carrying through with that.
Sweet. Then I'm on board. I'm already on board.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Apparently, there was a 5-minute preview trailer. I don't know. Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yep. See, I'm up on the comics, so I know what they're doing. They're doing the flash forward finally. But yeah.
Can you pass that to me when you're done with it, Cody?
That show's been done for a long time. Even the comic is no longer that interesting.
I tapped out halfway through 7, so
I skipped all of last season.
Yep.
Didn't watch it at all.
Yeah,
dude, I have had a love-fucking-hate relationship with Walking Dead since the end of season 3. That blue balls ending they gave us with season 3. Ever since then, I've been like, oh god. And I have continuously came back and held on to hope and came back. I gave up on the show for a while. I came back and watched the season with the cannibals, and I thought like that was a good season. It kind of brought me back. That fucking move that they pulled whenever they introduced Negan, where they cut to black and don't show what happens, that was the fucking straw that broke the shit out of the cannibal.
Wait, when? When they killed? Oh, you mean at the end of the season when they first showed him? Okay.
Yeah. When
I see. They didn't show who he killed when it was
they switched. They switched to POV and they cut to black.
Right.
So that fucking infuriated me. But because I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan and I love the character of Negan and I know where they were going and the potential for it, I gave them one more season to win me back. And that season where Negan is there the whole season was the most boring fucking season of Walking Dead that I had ever seen. Every episode felt like filler, except for the premiere and maybe a couple of scenes here and there in Negan's compound. I was bored as piss the entire season, and I basically had to tell my girlfriend I am not watching this show anymore. And just like you, this entire past season that just ended, I did not watch a single second of it. And from what I've heard, I have not missed anything.
Which season
because
is
they
it?
Killed.
Which season is it where they stick the tiger on? Like they have that.
That was that was the last one that Cody and I watched when they ended the war, or they started the war, and the tiger attacked a bunch of Negan's forces in the last episode of that one. It was the same one where they killed Sasha.
And then she was on the truck or whatever like that.
The Star Trek show.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
That's last
and then I watched the first episode of the new season, but that was the only one I could do. And here's the thing, like, I cosplay as Negan. I've loved Negan since the beginning, and there is an episode or an issue of the story of the comic that is fucking phenomenal. And if they ever get to it on the show, it'd be great. It's an entire issue where Maggie confronts Negan about killing Glenn, and it's so good because Negan's had such an arc. Because if you guys haven't watched, basically at the end of All Out War in the comics, fucking Rick calls for a parlay in front of everyone, the good guys and the bad guys. They stop everything. He walks up and has a face-to-face with Negan and literally shivs Negan in the neck. That's how the fucking comic goes. And then it flashes forward 2 years, and you see that now Rick is heading up this fully autonomous community that is farming, and they now use horses to redirect herds of zombies away from the whole area. It's like a functioning society, but what they don't know is that Rick kept Negan alive and keeps him in a prison cell down in the basement of this new area. And Negan eventually becomes sort of a force for good in the comics. He starts regretting the things that he's done, and so that confrontation with Maggie ends up being a magical comic book issue. It's so fucking good. Negan starts crying. You find out his origin. You find out that the reason his bat is called Lucille is because his wife was named Lucille and she died. It's fucking really cool stuff. So if they get to any of that in the show, it'd be amazing. But
knowing them, it'll take them 60 episodes to do that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. Not to cut you off. They show the Negan down below in a cell. They show that in this little trailer, so they are obviously heading that way.
Yeah.
But here's the gigantic turd in the plan. Andrew Lincoln's done.
Yeah.
He's in 5 or 4 episodes of this new season, and he's fucking done with the show. Your main star, who is the
Maggie too,
cornerstone of the show, and Maggie, your cornerstone character, the one that you've been following for 8 seasons, said fuck you and left.
Yes.
How are you
no,
going to
though.
continue that?
Well, they're going to continue because now Daryl is going to be the lead. They've already said
Ugh.
Daryl, who's not even in the
marketing
comic,
decision,
and is the no, marketing decision. Yes, of course, but it's the marketing decided that because Daryl's the most popular character on the show, and he has been for the last fucking 6 years. Like everyone loves Daryl. He's not even in the comics, so of course they can replace Rick with Daryl. The problem is in the comics, Rick leads one group, and then Maggie leads the Helltop, and that all plays into the storyline. And so I don't know what they're going to do with both of them gone.
And Carl.
Now with Carl gone too, because Carl being developed is a big thing in the comics too. So this is now essentially going to turn into two completely different things.
Hi, Dexter.
Which is fun.
Anybody Dexter?
Oh god, Dexter was great up until the last fucking garbage season. The last good season of Dexter.
Wait, you like the first 7?
I loved the last one. I loved was the Colin Hanks season when he played the killer.
That was the only one that I had an issue with aside from 8. I love season 1 through 4 of Dexter. I thought season 5 was fucking great, but they ended in a pussy way that kind of made it feel like a season.
Was that the Lithgow season?
No, that's
no. Season 5 was the season with Julia Stiles.
Oh, I hated that.
I loved the season until it was just wrap it up in a nice little bow and everything like that. When that should have been the season that that Deb found out about him. Yes. When they had that whole setup where they were behind the veil. If they would have followed through with that, season 5 would have been great. Season 6 I had a big issue with because for me, and it's not, if you didn't see it coming, it's not going to be the same experience. I saw the twist coming like by episode 3 with Edward James Olmos. Season 7 to me was a huge return to form whenever they didn't even really have a big bad, and they had the dude who played the Punisher for one movie, Ray something, I can't remember his name, but they had him in.
Or whatever,
Ray Stevenson, they had him in there. That was a great season. Season 8 is the worst fucking season of television I've ever seen in my life. And maybe I'm lucky. Maybe
End of the World Killer one?
Was season 8?
Oh.
No, that was 6. Season 8 is the finale. Season 8 is the finale.
Where Deb's fucking somewhere completely different.
Deb finding out at the beginning
psychiatrist.
Was great. Deb knowing should have been a whole season. Deb dying at the end should not have fucking happened.
Yeah.
Everything that they did.
That's what Walking Dead is to me. Walking Dead seems to be doing the same fucking... Because Dexter, for me, is 1 through 4, awesome. 5 through 8, not so much. And 8 is like... Yeah.
I'll go 1 through 6 on Dexter, even though 5 sucks.
Yeah. How do you save something like Walking Dead with everybody jumping?
I don't think you can. I think it's going to die a quick death after Andrew Lincoln gets out of here. I think they're going to try to fast track this big pieces of the story. I don't think you can save it because you already have been losing fans and losing views and losing critical praise like fucking crazy over the past 3 or 4 seasons. Now they've had like their worst rating since season 2 last year. And now you're getting rid of the 2 main stars. So you've lost your core audience. You've already lost the comic book fans because of all the decisions you made. And now you're going to lose even the people that are hanging on for dear life when you get rid of the main star of the show. So I see absolutely no situation where this show survives another 2 seasons.
Oh, but they could do another episode focused entirely on fucking Tara.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was the death knell for me. In the last season that Cody and I watched, they did an hour.
That was horrible.
That was an extended episode, too. They did an extended episode on fucking Tara. I'm like, I don't give a shit about Tara.
Dude, this is hilarious. The video sucks, but it's still on my channel. I was still figuring out how to get views around this time, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to live stream my reaction to every episode of Walking Dead.
Oh,
and I started with the Tara episode, it ended with the Tara episode. Because the whole fucking video is me doing this. And I like, there's nothing going on in that whole episode. And not only that, The Walking Dead, I did a video a year or so ago about 5 things The Walking Dead needs to do to improve. And one of the things, for whatever reason, I guess it's because it's the most watched show, or at least it was, Walking Dead, trying to watch that live on television is one of the most infuriating fucking experiences you can have because you get 3 minutes of show and 8 minutes of commercials. 3 minutes of show, 8 minutes of commercials. And the whole time I'm live streaming, I'm like, Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Oh, State Farm commercial. Okay.
we still to this day, we did a reaction to the season premiere when Glenn dies, and we do the whole reaction, and we still to this day get comments on that video where people are like, because Marsha and I react, like Marsha starts laughing when Glenn gets killed, like obnoxiously laughing, and we're both dressed as Negan. And like, we're super excited because, the show is doing what we've been hoping they would do because of the comic. We've known what was going to happen for 3 years in the comic. And so we're finally seeing it. So Marsha laughs, I laugh. And like, we still get comments to this day, like, I can't believe you fucking sick people are laughing when Glenn's getting killed. It's like, bitch, they aren't actually killing him, right? Like, it's a story. It's a show. And we've explained numerous times in the comments that we're laughing because it's a sense of joy, the sense of release, seeing that they're actually doing what they did in the comics in such a graphic, good representation of the black and white comic. Like, but still, literally yesterday, I was like responding to comments where people are still pissed about it. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I actually had my channel get I'll say taken over, but that's an overt exaggeration. I had a group of people that declared themselves as Negan's army.
Oh, God.
I had a review where I shit on The Walking Dead. I think it was the finale of that season where I was like, I'm fucking done with this show. And they basically would start disliking my video, and I would block them, and they would have another account, and they would make it, and they would kept doing it on my Walking Dead video. So it went from like 11 dislikes to like 112 in like 30 minutes. So I hid the video for like a day and a half and then brought it back. Man. And
yeah.
But it was funny. But yeah, I know what you're talking about with the crazy fandom or whatever. But to me, the show is just ran so incompetently. Like the way the decisions that they make and how they split the seasons up. And the biggest example is the way they do that Negan thing. Now, like, again, spoiler alert, I guess, but when they have the reveal that he kills Abraham, and then there's that second reveal that he also kills Glenn, why the fuck would you not end the season with him killing Abraham? Everybody's shocked. Oh my God, Abraham's dead. He's bleeding out. Cut to black. You come back the next season. You start right where you started. Everybody's fucking, everybody's caught their breath now over 4 months or whatever. Okay, Abraham's dead. We'll move on. Yes, and then bam, 5 minutes in, Glenn gets killed too.
Yeah.
Good call, Cody.
It's not fucking rocket surgery, but it's
that would have been good.
The show, I loved it so much when it first came out. Like I felt like it was one of those shows where I felt like I was one of the first ones. Like the show grew crazy, so everybody watched The Walking Dead by season 2. But season 1, for the first couple of episodes, I felt like it was this little secret that I had, and I was like, man, this is gonna be so cool. And by the time now, it's the most infuriating. It's the
I was saying
it's the most it's the most infuriating show that I've ever been a fan of, and it's the only show that I've ever been a fan of that I walked away from and did not finish out. And I don't know if I ever will. I don't know if I ever will go back and catch up.
I have a feeling I will, but because I am a Walking Dead hipster. I actually have been getting the comics since the very beginning. So I have every issue. Well, I had every issue, but I actually paid to get the first 13 issues graded, and I ended up selling the first issue for over $1,500. So it's not a comic that I'm a huge fan to read anymore. It used to be top of the pile, but now it feels like I'm doing it out of necessity, and they're like at issue 185, and I'm like, fuck, I'm 15 away from 200. Might as well just finish it out. It's the same reason I'm still collecting Spawn almost at issue 300, because I'm always like, yeah, it sucks now, but I'm almost to the 25, the next 25th issue, so I'll just hang in there and hope it gets better. But Walking Dead is
the funny thing is I bought all the hardcovers of The Walking Dead where they compile everything into giant issues. Yeah, the compendiums or whatever. I have, how many is that? 6. I have 6 of them. The show got worse after I started reading the comics, because I'm like, fuck, they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like the whole thing with the spot in the show when I started to lose my praise for it with the whole the whole end of season 3 with the confrontation with the governor. When I read what happened in the comics, I'm like, are you fucking serious? You traded that for they blow up some towers and they leave scared? Like
with Lori and the baby.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? And they everything. Oh my god.
Yeah,
and
the comic's amazing. But even the comic has become lackluster.
Yeah, but it's that recurring theme that they have of they change things and they draw things out because they want to blackmail their viewers to come back. Instead of just being a kick-ass show that everybody loves and you're going to come back because it's awesome, they don't give you enough hoping you're going to be fucking addicted and you're going to come back. We're not going to show you who Negan kills because we want you to come back to find out. It's the only show that's ever
I will say
like blackmail.
By comparison, Preacher, I just finished the 2nd season of Preacher. They wrap up their arcs at the end of each season. Like they don't pull that bullshit. Like it's nice. It's nice to have a show that does that because so many people, I think, took pages out of The Walking Dead and do that cliffhanger ending rather than wrapping up their season. It's like, just wrap up your fucking season. Don't make me wait 3 months for you to wrap up a story I've been watching for 8. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, and appointment television too. Like people are taking that shit for granted. Like you don't know if an audience drops out, and then the people that are sticking with you, if the network cancels this shit, they get ripped off because you're trying to do this cliffhanger shit. It's unfair to a loyal audience to do shit like that because you never know the variables into what can make or break a show, and it's just not cool to tell stories like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the same as saving the cool shit for a sequel. If you're trying to write a movie and you're like, oh, I have something I could do, but it would work better in the sequel. It's like, no, bitch, throw everything you can at the first movie that's interesting. Make sure people want to come back for a fucking sequel.
Right.
Take a page out of Breaking Bad's book. Figure out your story, map out your story, and tell your fucking story. Don't carry on. Don't do the Dexter thing where you kick ass and you have awesome ratings, so we're just going to stretch the shit out until we suck.
Yeah, and you're like where do we go now?
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just... And Breaking Bad did a couple of cliffhangers, and they did them fucking well because they did both. They wrap up the story arc of that season, and they give you a nugget to make you go, holy fuck, and you come back next season. They don't chop the story off at the climax and save the climax for next year.
Yep.
Do you know what Dexter lost its head writer to after season 4?
No.
No.
Twilight: A New Moon.
Oh
God.
And apparently she just kept writing the Twilights after that. So we lost a...
Well, she made a shit ton of money.
A fucking... Listen, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for everybody.
Yeah. I don't begrudge anyone going where the money is. You know what I mean?
I hope the house is working.
Yeah, I don't know. Andrew Drewski McGillicuddy, Andrew Becker tagged me in that trailer on Killer Flicks. He's like, "Oh, Cody, I guess we're gonna have to start watching Walking Dead again." And I watched the trailer, and the trailer goes on forever. It goes on
5 minutes, right? Yeah,
a fucking eternity. And I'm like, if I got to the end of the trailer, my comment was, "No, still looks like the same old shit to me." Yeah, especially when I know that Andrew Lincoln's leaving. It's like, okay, if your main star has lost faith and he wants to jump ship, why should I?
Now it's a countdown to figure out how they kill him, right? Because there's no way they're just going to let him ride off into the sunset in a show like Walking Dead.
Yeah, Negan, I guess, probably come out and kill him. Who fucking knows?
He's obviously
they
still
can't
alive.
Because they're making a heel turn for him or a hero turn for Negan now. They can't.
Maybe.
Yeah, face turn. Thank you. Yeah, they're making a face turn for him. They can't.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cecil, he's still alive in the comic, right?
Yeah, and he's made a face turn. So
I meant.
Rick. Lincoln's good. Rick.
Yeah. Rick is still alive in the comic. Although not too long ago, Andrea, who had been alive and who he had taken up with instead of Michonne, just got killed not too long ago in a big oversized issue that was actually really good. Made me cry while I was at a discount tire, motherfucker. but that was really good because you remember Andrea, the sharpshooter with the scar.
Sure.
She
wasn't allowed to have bullets when she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah, she ended up with Rick rather than Michonne, which is it felt completely forced on the show to me. But but you know, so yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So I just have not been a fan of what they're doing, and now on the comics, it's the same old stuff. They just found a new community that's run by a different person calling themselves the governor, and it's like, really, now you're using the governor again? Come on, dude. Kirkman, I know you're better than that. But they did introduce a really cool crazy girl. Like, she's like certifiably insane, it seems like, but she's super over the top fun, like Adderall status. Like, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. But the one interesting thing they did was at this community, when they arrive, they see all these posters looking for people, and they at the very end they see this one poster. Michonne sees this poster that's a picture of her that says, "Have you seen my mom?" And so it turns out that her daughter is at this community and has been for all these years. And so there's a reunification that's really cool. But that's the only goddamn interesting thing going on in the comic series.
That's something I really wish they buy time so much in these seasons. I really wish. Fuck, it's what, we're 10 seasons deep now. Nobody's making medicine anymore. Nobody's like, you could have a little mini storyline where somebody's diabetic and they need to find fucking medication for whatever. Like that could be its own little thing that doesn't really drag. I don't know. Like, approach some of the problems that you would come across with the world coming to an end. Like,
all canned goods that are expired now in the comic universe.
Oh, all right.
It's been long enough where all the canned goods are gone now.
Yeah, see, like something like that. It it's not that big a deal, but it goes a long way in here for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this kind of ties into the other big issue I've had with this show. This show has never been able to sustain a 16-episode season.
Right.
The first season they tried to do it with was season 3, and even that one felt overly long because they didn't end it.
Shit, the second season felt overly long because it was all at a goddamn farm.
I loved to. So
I didn't. Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of season 2. I'm one of the few. But after that, I've never understood. They have never been able to do a successful extended season. It always felt like that show should be 10 episodes long, and they should do all the meat of the story and quit fucking around with Terra episodes or an episode where they're trying to get a fucking zombie out of the well as if they're actually going to drink that fucking water.
Yeah, that was 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have nothing but rants on Walking Dead anymore. I have nothing good to say about it.
Yeah.
Well, we've been going for 2 hours, guys. You ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
No, keep going.
Yeah. Next San Diego Comic-Con trailer.
Boys Night Out.
See, so what do you got coming up on the channel that isn't a stream?
Well, we've got some interesting things coming up, actually. Like I said, we're interviewing Steve Alton. Yeah, Steve Alton, the writer of the Meg book that the upcoming The Meg is based on. Going to be interviewing him tomorrow, so look for that coming up before the screening we see on the 6th. I actually just uploaded. I did something a little different. One of the things that I got from Mad Monster Arizona was a giant art book of The Thing, where every page is just a new piece of art from someone referring back to The Thing. So I did a look along / read along where I set a camera on me and a camera on the book. And I just literally go through while I play some cool music, and you can go through and look at all the art with me. So I've got that coming up. And then look forward to reviews. We put up we transferred our first Patreon review over to the channel. We did a Serbian film review and commentary. The next one is going to be Event Horizon. And then the one after that is In the Mouth of Madness, which we loved. Cody, you're wrong. That's the second best Carpenter movie, not the fourth. Anyway, but yeah, outside of that, it's, anything and everything. We're going to be doing the news. Like I mentioned to these guys, I don't know if it was on the stream or off the stream, but we are going to be doing the news in the old way, where Fuego and I are at the desk, and we're going to go to like one-shots, like nightly news status. And we're going to see how people like that now that we actually have a bit of an audience.
So yeah. Editor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's me. So,
so
thank you guys if you do check any of it out, and thank you, CP, for letting me talk about it.
No, thank you for being here, Cody.
Insider info, if you guys do like this new version of the horror show news, Cecil's going to start looking a lot more tired in his videos. So just expect that. Literally, the second that we're done with this stream, I'm going to make my my Unfriended Dark Web review public, so you can watch that right after here. It's spoiler free, even though you already know all my thoughts. You can go check that out.
Work backwards.
Equalizer 2, I recorded that review today, so that'll be out tomorrow.
Is that good?
Yes. If you like the first, you like the second. I got my Voorhees sneak peek reaction coming out tomorrow, probably before the Equalizer 2. I'm also doing a video on the Chucky TV series and this MGM reboot because people keep sending me fucking messages asking my thoughts.
Oh, dude, we missed you last night when we were talking about that. I was like,
I know that was when I messaged you guys saying I can't. It's nerve wracking to watch this shit because I'm like screaming at my phone like, no, say this. At some point, I'm sure I might be allowed back on screen stream, but allowed. Yeah. But I might have been zacked by Mother Mayhem.
Oh.
But no, I'm just kidding, guys. I think. But I haven't recorded the reviews, but I have done the thumbnails because I watched the Thing prequel for the first time since I saw it in theaters. So I think sometime soon I'm going to review the prequel and the original. I'm going to do the prequel first. I'm also doing an In the Mouth of Madness review because I just watched the Scream Factory release the other day, and it reminded me how much I love that fucking movie. So I want to tell people about it.
Good.
And I got some cool things planned out for the video that Cecil will appreciate since he appreciated my Jason Lives review. So look forward to that. I also have a shitload of Patreon stuff as far as requests that I'm probably a dick for not making a priority. I have Joyride. I have the Poseidon Adventure, the original one. I have Inception, The Prestige, The Lords of Salem.
Inception, that's untouchable. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Fright Night, the original. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So
good.
Yeah. I am going to be doing two, assuming I hear back from them. I'm supposed to be doing a sponsored video with Shudder. And if I do, I'm going to be doing the Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, because that's also a Patreon request. But it's on Shudder as well. So if they get back with me, I'm going to try to do two birds with one stone, do a patron request and a sponsored video in the same. And speaking of sponsored videos, my first sponsored video, Scream, I'm also going to be doing Scream 2, 3, and 4 at some point this month. So quite a lot to look forward to. Huh?
Scream's on
No, it was sponsored by Amino.
Oh, so many sponsors, it's hard to keep up with.
I know, jeez.
Yes, exactly. So if I forgot,
I'm only sitting here with 21,000 subs, no offers for sponsorships. I'm not pretty enough. Not pretty enough. No.
Oh,
I reached out to Shudder. I'm like, so I saw some of these other horror people I work with pretty regularly doing some stuff. Hey, we've got 21,000 subscribers. Why don't we try and do something? They're like, yeah, we'll be in touch. Okay.
Well, you know what? Here's the funny thing. Hopefully they don't watch this. Hopefully they don't watch this. I was very nervous about what the requirements were going to be for my Amino sponsored review because I don't want to do a video where I have to spend the first 8 minutes reading terms and conditions. I refuse to do that. So I would rather just not have a sponsor than to do something like that. So I did. If you watch my Scream review, my sponsored spot is literally a minute long, maybe, and I joke around the whole time, and I even end with a Wayne's World joke about product placement, and I hold up some Aquafina. So I make a whole joke about the fact that I'm doing a sponsor, and the woman that I've been in contact, she's like, "I love it, it's approved," and I was like, "Holy shit!" Now I watched it, and I don't know if it was required of him, but I watched Lee's Shudder sponsored review where he did one of their videos. And he's talking about Shudder for like the first 6 minutes of the video. So if they require that much of me, no.
Dude, in Lee's defense, he's been blowing Shudder since like March of 17. Like he was their officially, like he was their voice for a while now. So like it's if there's somebody that's actually talking about something they believe in, with Shudder.
No. Yeah, no, by no means am I saying that anything that he said was disingenuous.
I'm just saying that he's
Yeah, I'm just saying if they require, okay, you can do a sponsorship, but we need you to hit all of these bullet points. I'm going to be like,
9 of
no,
your
thanks.
10 minutes need to be this.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to do the videos in the first. If you have to start the sponsor talk within the first 60 seconds of your video, and you guys know my style. I open with a cold open, and they're always longer than 60 seconds, plus my intro. So I negotiated with Amino and got it pushed to 90, and it starts at 89 seconds. So I got to squeeze it as far as possible. But yeah, so I don't know. Shudder, it depends on how easy they are to work with. Otherwise, I might just say to hell with it.
Well, you should mention to Amino that you know this other horror channel.
Will I like reviews?
Yeah, fuck. God damn it.
Emily's Adventures in Horrorland.
Yes, no. Fuck this channel. Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. Fuck, man. She's actually filming as we speak because she lost the audio on one of her altars.
Fuck.
And it was the one with all the makeup, and I'm like, oh my god, that sucks.
That makes my balls hurt just hearing that.
Yeah. Just imagine having.
I know how fucking infuriating it is for me when I lose audio, and all I got to do is cuss and go back in the room and say the same shit.
Tell me about it, dude. Imagine I had to. So we recorded 4 trailer reactions: Spirit of Haddonfield, Castle Rock final trailer, Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Hood 2, and like one other one that's really popular. Fuego and Marsha's mic worked great. The trailer worked great, but my mic didn't work at all for any of them. So I had to literally go and write down everything they fucking said and be like, okay, what would I have said to lead into that? Oh, shit. And then I had to re-record it with the same shirt and like fucking drop it in and try and Frankenstein the shit out of them, you know? And like I got a comment that was like, yeah, Cecil's mic kept cutting out. And I was like, all right, well, at least I was somewhat successful, even though my hair is 2 completely different lengths. But, you know, it's so
reactions on this channel.
Exactly. You like that?
I had to do the same shit with the first collab I ever did with Lee. The top 5 horror sequels. We recorded it one night, and it was the first time we'd ever chatted or anything like that, and it turned out great. And then he sent me his footage, and the first third of his footage was a black screen with audio. And I was like, hey dude, I think your transfer messed up. And he's like, oh, it's cool, I'll send it to you. And like 15 minutes later he sends me a message. He's like, bro, you're not gonna believe this. So I'm like, oh shit. So we recorded the first third a second time, and you kind of had it was a top 5, but the way I do it is kind of like a reveal, like my number 5 is this. Oh shit. And then so we had to like react like, oh fuck bro, number 5, that's a good pick. And then we did that, and then when we did that, my fucking audio cut out from my microphone at some point. So then I had Lee's footage. I edited it together, and I watched it and recorded myself watching the video. And he's like, my number 5 is Halloween 4. And I'm like, oh yeah, Halloween 4. And I had to keep redoing it because I'd be talking, and then Lee would talk again. I'm like, fuck, I gotta say that faster. So I
fucking ADR it.
The first 5 minutes of that video was me acting my ass off. And
I didn't even bother with that. I just was like, oh shit, I talked too long. I'm just gonna freeze their camera. Because fucking like I'll just take a screenshot like shit like it froze. Yeah. I mean I'm finishing my point, and as soon as I'm done they unfreeze, and I'm like, all right, let's continue this discussion.
See, that's the thing about editing stuff. Like if you could throw an image up, you could hide a lot of mistakes with an image or a clip or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well,
and then you could do it Lee's way by just cutting in closer to yourself.
Oh yeah, that's the YouTube trick right there. That's the
Yep. Oh, there was obviously a mistake there. Most people don't know why I just pushed in on myself. But the reason is because I said a fucking really long for no reason.
Yeah, that's big on my list. All right, so we're
really
just rambling.
What's really a bitch when you it's really a bitch when you leave that in and don't realize it.
Yeah.
I've done that at least 3 times. I've done it before. I'm like, yeah, such and such. Yeah.
I had one the other day. I was doing a trailer reaction, and like I was trying to pull up the trailer, and I like pull up my screen and pull up a few things, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to remember to edit that out because I don't want people to see my desktop that much. And then someone commented, I think you forgot to edit something out, and they put the time code, and I'm like, motherfuck. And I looked at it, and I'm like, it was out of focus anyway. I don't care.
Well, that does it for tonight. Thank you, Cecil. Thank you, Cody. Anything to say before we go?
One love.
Unfriended is awesome.
Bye. And now it's taking forever to go off. Go off, goddamn you. We're done.
Tonight's flavor of edible panties is
Oh, hurry.
banana